Hey, Joe and Dave, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me today. I just want to start by saying congratulations to you both on the publication of your HBR article on the transformation economy. As a person who has spent my career in the transformation space, as a practitioner, as an experienced strategist, it's really, really exciting to see how you and the team are outlining a recipe for successfully creating within the transformation economy. And yeah, as always, just so excited to talk to you both and listen to your insights and learn from you. Before we get into all the transformation biz, I'd like for you each to just take a second to introduce yourselves. So, Joe, let's start with you.
I'm Joe Pine, and I'm co-author of The Experience Economy, among many other books, with my partner Jim Gilmore, who also is one of the co-authors on our new Harvard Business Review article. And so I've worked with companies to help them to really understand what's going on in the world of business, and develop frameworks for that first describe what's happening and prescribe what they can do about it.
And I'm Dave Norton. I'm the founder and principal of Stone Mantle. Joe and I have been working together since 1999. I've always been focused on experiences and meaningful experiences. And we're just really excited that some of the work that we've been doing for a number of years is actually beginning to get noticed by places like HBR.
Yeah, it is important work, and I think the storytelling around it is long overdue. But let's just start by sort of setting a groundwork for what we even mean when we're talking about transformation economy. I think the opening of the article describes it in a really compelling, relevant, understandable way. You point out that nobody goes to a fitness center just to get access to equipment. They go to get in shape, and that we don't go to the doctor for the surgery, but we go to feel healthier and to be well. We don't go to college to get grades, but to gain life skills. And I think that starts to shape our understanding of what the transformation distinction is from all the other types of experiences out there. Tell me how you see this distinction, Joe.
Well, we often talk about transformative experiences. We have the phrase "a life transforming experience." In fact, that most all of us have had, and so it's a recognition that we only ever change through the experiences that we have. Right, as another saying goes, we're all the product of our experiences. So that is how we change. That is how we achieve our aspirations that we have. And what this recognizes is that, therefore, people need help in doing that. You know that from your former company. I don't know if we're allowed to name what company it is, but you know that from your former company, that people need help in what they're doing and trying to achieve those aspirations. It's very difficult to make any significant change on one's own, particularly those that are in kind rather than just degree. And so that means that there's a business opportunity. There's an opportunity to help people as well as organizations, help them achieve their aspirations, help them become who they want to become, help them become that new you, as the title of the article puts it. And that means that the transformations are a distinct economic offering, as distinct from experiences, as experiences are from services, services from goods, and goods from commodities. And that means you can be in the transformation business.
Yeah, it's a great distinction right there. And I think it puts it so simply, right? Anyone who is in the new you business, anyone who is helping, and that helping word really is essential here, helping people change qualifies for this. Can you give me some examples of, I listed a few really obvious categories there at the outset, but what are some other less obvious categories that you think would fit in the transformation economy?
Well, one is where you can really see this happening is look at the rise of the position, the title coach, right, over the past 20 years, right? Anybody who's a coach is in the transformation business, whether it's a tennis coach, a golf coach, a life coach, a business coach, an executive coach, whatever it might be. So coaching is one of those, and management consulting is also in the transformation business. No client ever buys your offering because they want your offering. They want to change business, right? They want you to help them change their business. And so that's another one. And there are so many out there that also, while you might not nominally think of the business itself as with healthcare and fitness centers and higher education and so forth as being in the transformation business, but they have opportunities to do that. I think of financial services, for example, where money is a means to an end, right? And if you sell the end rather than the means, then you'll gain much more economic value because you're creating much more value within your customers because you're helping them achieve the ends to which they've always wanted to use that money. So fintech companies, banks, anybody in the financial services industry should really think of themselves as in the financial transformation industry.
And why is that more valuable?
It's more valuable because it creates more value for customers, because it gets to it. Well, you look at ends and means. It gets to the we buy commodities today only for the goods that they enable. Like we buy salt and chicken and whatever because we want a meal. We buy goods for the services that they enable, services for the experiences, and experiences in the end all exist there is for the transformation of helping us become who we want to become. Whether that's even I just came back from Orlando, and there's a certain theme park down there you might have heard of, but there are parents every day taking their kids to Walt Disney World because they're starting to lose the relationship with their kids and they want to become a hero in their eyes. And that's a transformation opportunity that even something as totally experiential as a theme park can actually think about. That if they could ascertain that, then they could do things differently to help dad become a hero, or to help mom have a better relationship with their spouse, and so on and so forth. So any industry, any company really just needs to think about what those possibilities are, the ends to which their offerings are the means, and the ends of which those are the means, and so forth, until they get down to why this person or this company is buying this offering from us.
I love that, because what it does is it looks at increase of meaning, increase of purpose, increase of impact, and therefore increase in value, which I think is a nice segue into the recipe of sorts that you guys outline in the article. And Dave, you guys say that in step one, if we want to be successful at creating transformational offerings, we have to ascertain the jobs to be done. How do we do that? Why is it important?
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. And, I would just add to what Joe is saying, that a lot of digital technologies today are really about transformations. And you're going to see more of that. So if your company is creating technologies, think about Noom, for example. We talk about Noom in the article a little bit, but there's a lot of companies out there that are really going to be focused on transformations. And this idea of any time you want to feel like a superhero, you're really asking for a transformation, I think is really important, because there's a lot of companies that would like their customers to feel like they're superheroes. So let's talk about jobs to be done.
I like that distinction. I have to point it out for a second. The difference between the company being the superhero and the customer being the superhero.
That's right. It's all about, that's the transition right there that we have to keep in mind. Traditionally, companies have really focused a lot of effort and time on what we might call the functional job to get done. Mm-hmm. Am I able to solve a problem for you? Am I able to accomplish a task for you? How am I doing on making this a seamless, frictionless experience? These are all examples of kind of the functional job, and I think a lot of companies know what that is. And a lot of companies talk about trying to move from functional experiences to emotional experiences. So they want to make sure that they're connecting with the customer is having something meaningful that's happening or memorable as a part of their experience. And that's great. Those have been around for a long time. People have been very focused on that. Increasingly, over the last 15 years, with the rise of social media and the sharing economy, people have started to talk about the social job to get done. And there are some real parameters or expectations, or I don't know, maybe consumers are predisposed to think about social jobs being done in a certain way, especially when you're trying to create an experience. For transformations, it's something different. It's really about the aspirational job to get done. And so with each of these different types of experiences, types of jobs to get done, there are certain expectations that consumers have, that people have in general. For aspirational jobs to get done, where I'm trying to be transformed in some way, shape, or form, you've got to know things like, what is their current state? How do you diagnose that? Do you have the ability to guide them along the way? Are they going to receive new knowledge, new skills, new capabilities, new superpowers? And is there some kind of goal that's going to elevate them and is going to lead to sustaining that particular type of transformative experience? So it's really important to categorize the types of jobs that you're getting done for your customers and determine whether or not you're even doing an aspirational job before you can really start to think about the types of transformative experiences that you're going to create.
Makes so much sense to begin there. And then step 2, you guys say, is define success along the way, which I think is very relevant to what you were just saying there, Dave. Joe, do you want to add anything to that step?
Yeah, well, a couple of things is, one is when Dave mentioned about the apps, right? One of the things that apps often use is so-called gamification. And the thing about gamification is only ever used when they're trying to affect change. Otherwise, it's just a game, right? The gamification part is because we want to affect some behavior change. And so if you've got that aspect in your app or in your business, and here we can apply it also internally to the employees, where often we're doing things that we want to gamify their experiences so that we get more productive employees, more creative, more innovative employees, and so forth, that gamification aspect also should signal you that this is a transformation that's going on. And the defining success along the way actually is actually the core genesis of the article. Lance Betancourt is actually the lead author, has worked with many clients over the years on defining what does customer success mean. And it's when we're talking together about how that applies to the progression of economic value that goes through experiences and on to transformation, is to recognize that customer success really does make a huge difference at transformation, because it's letting them to define what is the transformation that they want, what is the behavior change they want, what is the new you that they want to be. And you've got to know what that success point is in order to successfully get to that level of transformation.
I may have been known to rant about that a few times.
I'm sure.
In large part because when people set off on a journey like that, they don't know where they're going.
Mhm.
It is a journey into the unknown.
Yeah, and that's going to change the way we think about customer journey work in general. So there's a lot to really think about as we go forward into the transformation economy.
Yeah. So the last step you guys talk about in the article is to identify the barriers. Also something I may have been known to rant about before. But Dave, how are you thinking about it on the heels of this work?
Well, you think about there's all kinds of barriers that keep people from being able to accomplish their goals, their aspirations, and become transformed. I think the rise of behavior change and motivational type of work that's going on in companies, all kinds of companies, from consumer good companies all the way through to great transformative type of companies, is an indicator of the fact that people are realizing that in order to actually create transformation, you've got to help that person stay motivated, move forward, not stay in the same place, or develop things that happen along the way that cause them to not be able to progress. And so, and people understand that as well. How many people have started to lose weight only to lose motivation along the way, and not been able to accomplish what it is that they were actually trying to accomplish? So this is going to be on top of all of the pain points, the sacrifices that consumers have to overcome, the channel barriers, now we're really talking about things like, how do I stay motivated? How do I stay focused? How do I accomplish what it is that I'm trying to accomplish?
And to Joe's original point, this is why people need help. If it
Yeah.
they wouldn't hire you.
Because it's not like, to Dave's point, it's not like it's like customer journeys where it's a matter of, can we get them into the store, right?
No.
Is the product on the right placement in the shelf? No, that's trivial. This is hard. It's hard changing. And there are many barriers, not just the motivation, but so many other barriers that customers have to really effect change, including the time to invest into it and so forth, that you really have to identify those barriers. Otherwise, at some point, so many customers are just going to give up. And that's the worst thing that can happen.
And
requires
Aransas,
resilience than the journeys.
Oh, absolutely. I love that comment. It really requires resilience. Aransas, we've been talking about people, and I have used the term consumer, but there is so much that needs to be done from a B2B standpoint, with companies helping other companies to transform, to become what their vision and their mission is, and to think very differently about what their company does for their customers. So it's not just a consumer issue or a healthcare issue or a financial issue. It really has to do with the way that we think about economic value across the board.
Mm-hmm. The HBR editors actually made us cut out parts on B2B. So let's just focus it on personal transformations because of space and whatnot. And we also had another example that alludes to another sort of audience of transformations, and that are basically around transformative travel. That increasingly people want to be the change in the world when they go out into the world. It's not only about changing themselves because of what they're encountering, but leaving the world a better place. And so there's the consumers that want transformations. There's businesses, organizations that want transformations, and then there's also societal transformations that people want to be a part of, and thereby make a difference. So you can think of all three of those now. That sort of the way I've formulated since we started working on the article is personal, organizational, societal change is what's going on, all wrapped up into the transformation economy.
I think it's really encouraging to see that the principles of design for transformational experiences apply across all of those. And I'm just going to read out a few of the ones that you guys mentioned. You list out 5, in fact, that some or all must be applied in order to successfully create transformational experiences. So you say integrate solutions, engage each customer as an essential partner, provide customized support the full range of jobs to be done, and charge for outcomes. Of those 5, which one did you find most surprising in this work or most important?
I'm guessing Dave's going to say jobs to be done, so I'm going to leave that one alone. That's just a guess. For me, the one of those that I've only ever actually, well, I guess a couple I've talked about before, but the last one about charging for outcomes, I've talked about it before. That it is in the original book in the experience economy, and the way I formulate that now is any business that's in the business of helping people become healthy, wealthy, or wise, right, is in the transformation business and is going to move sooner or later into outcomes-based compensation, where they actually get paid for the outcomes that their customers achieve. So I'm talking healthcare, I'm talking financial services, I'm talking education. We already see that going on, and it's only going to increase and become endemic in those industries. And I did, and customization has always been a key element of this, and that if you customize goods, you turn into services, customize services turn into experiences, and customize experiences, you turn them into transformations. Because again, that's how we transform, is through those experiences. But the one that really, I guess, surprised me in a good way is the first one on integrating solutions, on the notion that it really, because I tend to think about it before as, if I'm in the transformation business, I need to do the transformation. And recognize, no, there is so much out there. There are so many self-help books. There are so many apps. There are so many companies. There are so many coaches that can be part of an overall transformation offering. And it's much better to create an ecosystem of companies that you can bring to bear to customize that experience in this moment in time when they need it, and not think about something that you have to do all on your own, because again, that's incredibly hard and can set you up for failure because it's so broad, and you'll have customers that don't fit into whatever mold you think there is, and you will only be able to transform them if you bring in other organizations, other offerings, other apps, and so forth to do it.
I
So
won't
I'm
name names, but I will simply nod and say that I can think of a lot of companies who tried to go it alone
Right.
and paid the price for their independence.
Aransas won't be surprised. Joe will be a little bit surprised, but I agree. Integrating solutions with intention is one of the most important things that you can do. It's actually something that we've been studying in the collaboratives that we run at Stone Mantle, because in the transformation economy, you're going to need partners. You're going to need friends. You're going to need APIs that work with other APIs. You're not going to be able to do everything that people want to do in an individualized way without being integrated. But then there's the other part of it with intention. Intentionality is so important. Do you understand how to create intention in solutions so that consumers can trust you, so that people can trust you, and so that they can accomplish what they intend to do? I think that there's so much more that we need to think about in terms of integration with intentionality to create solutions that deliver transformation. A lot of great work. And one of the things that we're going to be doing this next year is dedicating an entire collaborative program to transformations. And I'm excited about that particular track that we're going to be leading.
I think it's so needed, Dave, and really exciting that you've made this decision. It is the power of the collaboratives is smart companies coming together to solve complex problems and to bring these companies together who are inarguably solving the most complex problems. And it really is, I think, a perfect extension of Principle One, integrating solutions and really using the strength of the hive mind to deliver on this job to be done well. So I know, as Joe alluded, there was some editing that happened, and HBR wasn't publishing a full book yet. How about you each share one thing you wish you could have included in there if you'd had even more time and space? Joe, you want to go first?
Well, the main thing we already talked about, which is to get B2B examples in there, to understand that it's not just about personal transformation. I think there's a much greater audience actually for business to business transformations, because businesses are made up of individual people. So you just multiply all of those out there on it. The only other thing might be to recognize that it is phases. It's not just one life transforming experience. It's a set of phases. And you need to have a precursor to that, which is to understand, well, who is this person? What are their aspirations? What do they want to become? So you can then design those set of experiences, customize to each one, integrate all the solutions that are coming together, get them to the point of transformation and charge for the outcome based off of that. But then also it doesn't end there. You've got Dave used the word earlier, sustain. You've got to sustain that transformation. And ensure that it goes through time. And I think that's an important part of it. If you just read the article, you might think, okay, I've done it, boom, done, and not recognize, no, the sustaining of it is incredibly important, which often then leads to another transformation as they want to go to the next level. And if you don't sustain, they won't want to work with you again. Like I tried that, didn't work. But if you do that level of sustaining, then they know you're with them. You know you're in their court, or their corner, I guess is the right phrase. And then again, when they're looking for, okay, I want to go to the next level, they'll likely come back to you.
It's a nice link to your work on authenticity too. It's building trust to stay with them on the journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Aransas, you're the expert on sustaining transformation. You've done some great work around that particular aspect, and I really admire the work that you do around meaningful motivation. For me, the one of the interesting things, because I'm kind of a little bit on the academic side, kind of a little bit too much sometimes, but I believe that people are predisposed to expect certain things from certain types of experiences. And so if I'd had the opportunity to make it a little bit longer, I would have liked to have talked about some of the predispositions, some of the expectations that people have coming into a transformative experience. They're going to expect that you can kind of evaluate their current situation. Can you? Can you evaluate their current situation? They're going to expect that you're going to be able to take them on the journey. And not that you're just going to promise to them that they're going to be transformed or that they're going to do the transformation themselves, although I do think that there are situations where consumers definitely want to transform themselves with a little bit of assistance from you. But they're going to have certain expectations along the way. We need to be prepared for the fact that those expectations are going to be very different than what we have traditionally thought the experience economy was all about. And we need to have the right tools. We need to think about journey work differently. We need to think about persona work. We need to think about the way that we develop strategies that really embrace transformations.
So true to the nature of transformation, isn't it? That it will shift and adapt over time. And the way we measure it, the way we achieve it will shift and adapt over time too. Guys, I'm so grateful to you for pulling all of this valuable thinking together and for spending some time chatting with me about it. Excited to see what's next and to hopefully guide more and more companies to successfully deliver on this essential job to be done.